Hey, everybody, real quick, if you need a recap of the morning show, season 1 through 3, I've got you covered. Just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. It'll take you right to it. Now, season 4 picks up 2 years after the merger of UBA, which is now UBN. There have been some cuts, as you can imagine. There's also been some acquisitions. Like, they now have this ultra-edgy sports guy that everybody seems to hate. He goes by the bro. The guy's a douche. Speaking of sports, Chris didn't end up going to ESPN. We're not sure what happened, but she stayed. And maybe it has something to do with UBN acquiring the Paris Olympic Games, which is going to be their coup de grace. That's going to be the thing that gets them back on top, because up until this point, the merger hasn't quite worked out the way that they thought it would. UBN had a lot of positivity regarding their new way of doing things. The figureheads now running things are Alex Levy, a woman named Celine, and Stella, who took over Corey's old job. She's running things. They put a lot of money into acquiring the Paris Games, and they're pulling a full-on blitz. One of the things they're doing is they have a new AI technique that's going to allow Alex Levy to speak in multiple languages all around the world. Instead of people watching the Olympic Games from another channel, they're all going to be locked into UBN. They have a new tech guy explain this to the crew, and the crew isn't excited about it. They're actually worried that AI is now going to take their jobs. And one of the reasons why is because the shows have been decimated by these cuts. But Alex and Stella both say, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to get back on top with this new deal. A lot of them, though, are skeptical, as you can imagine. With Alex now taking a more executive approach, she's stretched pretty thin, but that doesn't mean she didn't have time to catch up on the industry buzz. And one of the things going on is that Chip has a documentary streaming at Cannes. Alex's new assistant, Remy, has actually seen it, which Alex seems to be a little annoyed by because she would have liked to take a look at it, but she also realizes she doesn't have time. She has to get ready for an interview with an Iranian fencer who's getting ready for the Olympic Games. And this is one of the things that UBN is doing. They're doing these interviews with some of the athletes so that you can get to know them and hopefully watch the product. Because this is such a big interview, a lot of the bigwigs are there. Like, Ben is there to introduce Alex to Roya and her father, Asylum. Asylum is going to be interpreting any of the questions that Roya doesn't understand. Alex does some pleasantries with Roya and her father, but her father goes to shake Alex's hand and holds it a little too long. And that's because he's passing a note to Alex that once she opens her palm up, it reads, "We want to defect." And Alex goes right into humanitarian mode. Throughout the interview, she's trying to figure out a way to do this. She's asking the prearranged questions about sports and whatnot, and Roya and her father are going through the motions answering them. But then Alex figures out a way to get alone with Roya. She asks a political question, which gets the Iranian guard pissed off and shuts the interview down right away. Ben jumps in to try to smooth things over, as is a bunch of people. There's a commotion going on, and it allows Alex to pull Roya aside in a separate room and ask her, "Do you want to defect? Are you sure?" And Roya is adamant, "Yeah, I do." So Alex is going to help her. She says, "Take the freight elevator over there, downstairs. My car is waiting. They'll take you somewhere. Go now." And then Alex pulls the fire alarm. When the fire alarm gets pulled with all the commotion, everybody's kind of scrambling for an exit, and Alex tells her father, Asylum, the same thing she told Roya. Go to the fire escape, leave. When everybody exits the building, they see Asylum and his daughter in Alex's car take off, but not before the Iranian guard tried to stop them. I mean, they literally chased after them. And while what Alex did is noble, it's going to come with a lot of backlash. Because a couple of weeks before the games, she just helped an Iranian girl defect. That's going to be a big thing with the Justice Department, not just for UBN. So they had to have an emergency meeting that night with all of them. Alex, Stella, Celine, Mia, and Ben. And while they understand why Alex did what she did, they are very, very concerned. One thing Alex didn't realize was that Asylum works for the Iranian nuclear department. That's really who they want. They don't really care about Roya. They want her father. Immediately, that changes Alex's entire mood. She didn't know this. And Stella informs her the only interviews you need to worry about are with the FBI next week. Now, UBN is in complete damage control. They need to tell the Olympic Committee, which then they suddenly realize, wait, can the Olympic Committee revoke our contract? And that would be massive. Celine reminds them that they moved heaven and earth to get the Olympics. They spent a lot of money to get the Olympics. They're banking on the Olympics. They better not lose the Olympics, not for this humanitarian effort. as noble as it is. Oh, and they might have started World War III because, Iran could get pretty pissed off that America just helped this nuclear scientist defect. Then there's the matter of what to do about the pre-interviews. Alex was supposed to do all of them, and Stella says, no, you're not doing any of them now. We need to soft launch you basically at Paris. We'll put Chris on them. And Mia steps in and goes, I think Chris is stretched really thin. And Stella's answer to that is then take her off of the morning show. But that's going to leave a hole in the morning show. Mia still thinks this is a really bad idea. So after this meeting the next morning, she goes and she talks to Chris about it, trying to feel Chris's mood on the whole situation. And to her surprise, Chris is all about it. She wants a bigger role. She wants to do these interviews. She feels like she's earned the right to do these interviews, and she feels like she's not stretched too thin. While Mia's going to respect her wishes, she does need to run into somebody, and that someone's going to be Stella. And then you find out the real reason why Mia was so against taking Chris off of TMS. As she tells Stella, Chris drives TMS's ratings. So when the ratings go down, it's going to reflect badly on Mia, even though Mia was promised a promotion 2 years ago that she hasn't gotten, and that kind of justifies not giving it to her in the future. Stella understands. The two start brainstorming on what they're going to do, how they're going to fill Chris's role, and then they realize the last time that the ratings were as high as they've ever been was when Bradley was co-hosting with Alex. And Bradley, no one knows what she's really up to. It's been 2 years. Maybe, just maybe, Mia can get her back. So what has Bradley been up to? Well, she did make a deal with the feds that she did no jail time because she gave them so much information on Paul Marks, but it's not like she's free to do really whatever she wants. She does have to tell them if she's going to leave the state of West Virginia. That's where she's been located. She's been teaching a journalism class at a local community college, and she's been fine. And one day, after a very unexciting class, she heads home, and she's shocked because there's her former producer, Mia Jordan, in her driveway. At first, she thinks, well, Mia's just coming to check in and see how I'm doing. It's been a little bit. But then Mia gets to the point about Bradley coming back to TMS. And as Mia is pitching Bradley, Stella is going in to put some feelers to Alex about Bradley returning. And to Stella's surprise, Alex is completely against the idea. It's not like she doesn't like Bradley. She just doesn't like the idea of Bradley coming back to TMS. Plus, she had other names that she was considering, but it's too late. Mia's already in West Virginia, already making the pitch. Doesn't seem to matter anyway. Bradley feels the same way as Alex. That, yeah, it's just not right. I'm not going back. Thanks for the offer, but no. And Mia's left to text Stella that night, yeah, it's not looking good for Bradley coming back. Something changes, though, that night. As Bradley is grading some papers, she gets a weird text from a sort of communication service like a Telegram or a WhatsApp. And she doesn't know who this person is, but the person says, oh, so you told Mia no. Right away, Bradley says, who is this? But the person doesn't answer. The person answers a few hours later and just says, there's something at your old work that's being covered up and you need to look into it. And then they send Bradley a video of a bunch of birds, I'm talking probably 1,000, falling from the sky dead. And then they send Bradley more stories about connections of chemical companies in the water, poisoning people, people dying, and all of it being covered up. And whoever this mystery person is tells Bradley, somebody at your old work killed the story. Find out who it is. You're the journalist. And because Bradley does still view herself as a journalist, curiosity is going to get the best of her. She's going to go back to the morning show. She lets Mia know the next day, all right, I'm in. Shortly after getting the information, Mia goes to talk to Alex, but Alex's mind is only on Roya. She had to go talk to the FBI that day about what happened, but she's more concerned with the fact that she hasn't seen Roya, and she knows that the State Department needs to act quickly to get them asylum. She's really, really concerned about this. She even goes so far as to ask Mia, hey, do you have any connections? But Mia tells her, Alex, I think we got to stay out of this one. I think it's just above our pay grade. But Alex isn't willing to do that. No. She got Roya and Asharam into this mess. She's going to try to get them out of it. She knows one person that might be able to help, and it's her father. So after the morning show, she heads to meet with her dad at his university that he's teaching at, and it comes as a surprise. Because, as her dad puts it, we're fighting. Why exactly are you here? And Alex at first tries to do a hypothetical, hey, you helped someone with Asylum years ago. Do you still have friends in the State Department? Like, what exactly would happen if somebody was working and they got, they got citizenship? And what's the deal with that process? And her dad lets her know, well, I mean, ideally, they would get a whole new identity. Worst case scenario, though, they would get sent back to their country. And Alex knows that leaves Roya alone in a country that she's not familiar with and she barely speaks the language. Alex can't let that happen. She asks her dad, do you have any connections in the State Department anymore? But the answer is no, and his advice is, Alex, stay out of it. He does ask her a favor, though. He is going to be promoted to the head of his department. And there's a journalism student that wants to do a piece on him, and he wants just Alex Levy to talk nicely about him, which for Alex might be difficult to do because they don't have the best relationship. No word on if Alex is going to do it or not. Back at the office, though, everybody's just excited about Bradley coming back. Celine goes so far as to stop in Estella's office and congratulate her, but Stella corrects Celine and says, no, congratulate Mia. She's the one who did it. And then Celine's husband shows up, a guy named Miles, and Stella says hello to him. But these two, well, they're screwing. Yeah, no, they're having a full-on affair. I mean, the other night when Stella got word that Bradley wasn't in fact coming back, she was at a hotel bar being picked up by Miles, where they went back to her place and they banged each other's brains out. And this has been going on for a while behind Celine's back. You can tell that the way that Miles acts around Celine when Stella's there bothers Stella because she wants that. She wants to be with this guy, but she's still got her guard up. Now, not too far away downtown, Bradley has arrived back in New York City, and the first person she goes to see is her old buddy, Alex. Alex hugs her, they share a glass of wine, and as per usual with these two, initially the conversation is very friendly, very formal. But then it gets contentious. Because when Alex tells Bradley, I really don't think that this is the right spot for you anymore, Bradley gets pissed off. One of the reasons why is because Mia told her, no, Alex wants you back, and now Alex is telling her, I don't want you back. Alex just doesn't think it's the right thing with everything that happened with Hal, and Bradley shoots back that Alex didn't go full bore against everything they had on Paul Marks because it might have reflected poorly on her. She feels like it's a double standard. At the end of it, as usual, these two don't see eye to eye. They get really, really pissy at each other, and they go their separate ways, but Bradley is, in fact, starting on the morning show the next day. And Alex feels like someone needs to know about that. That person is Corey. Now, where's Corey been? Well, he had a busy day. He's out in L.A. working with a movie studio, and it was a headache. They had a big stunt that day planned, but fires up north have screwed up the sky, and they have to film inside, which pissed off the director, which ended up pissing off the main talent for the movie, and Corey had to go smooth things over. And as he's giving a very impassioned speech to the lead actress on why she needs to come back, he finds out, no, she quit. And now he's in desperation mode. He spends most of the afternoon calling every single agent trying to get an A-list star, and he can't. And there's one person left on his list. And thanks to Kyle, he finds out where that agent's going to be off hours so he can kind of ambush him. And it just so happens to be the same agent that Alex has and Bradley has. So they do have a history, they do have a past, but it's not like this guy wants to see Corey. He knows that there's an end game here. And one of the things that Doug tells Corey is the fact that this does not look good. You had Bradley with the unsafe work environment story, even though he was cleared of all charges of that. But, the public perception might say otherwise. And then you've got this lead actress saying that she was working in an unsafe environment. That's 2 stories in 2 years. Maybe he just needs to lay low. And that sets Corey off. He starts ranting about the fact that he was, in fact, cleared of those, and that Bradley Jackson is forgotten at this point. But that insult seemed personal. And eventually they do get back to the movie. Back to Doug's client, Julia, we figure it might be Julia Roberts, and he tells Corey, look, send me the script over. So Corey feels like he worked out this whole situation that day. He's feeling pretty good when he gets a phone call from Alex, and he's very surprised about this, and he's in a good mood. Until Alex tells him, yeah, I just thought you should know. I don't know if you heard the news, but Bradley Jackson is returning to the morning show. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.